Are you thinking about moving to St. Petersburg, Florida? Everybody talks about the sunshine and the beaches, and that's definitely important to the lifestyle here, but today we're gonna go a little bit deeper, and we're gonna talk about some of the important things you'll wanna know before making the decision to move here or not. And St. Pete is definitely a really unique city. It's completely surrounded by water and nature. That's a big part of the lifestyle here, and there's always something to do or get into. The city's changing in such an amazing way, while still keeping kind of its historic small town charm. We've quickly grown into a relocation destination as people flocking from everywhere to secure a home in the Sunshine City. If we haven't met before, my name is Jeffrey Clark. I'm the broker owner for Clark Realty, and today we're going to be breaking down the 5 reasons why people are making the move right now and loving it. So let's get into it. So reason number 1 is you get the beach life without having to live on the beach, and I really think this is almost one of St. Pete's best kept secrets, that you really can get that beach lifestyle without living directly on the water. If you didn't know this already, St. Pete is completely surrounded by water. Our county, Pinellas County, is a peninsula. So we're an entirely peninsular city that has over 255 miles of coastline, and we're not all that big. So no matter where you're living in the peninsula, you're just a short drive from one of our world-class beaches. The city offers amazing options to live near the water with walkability and historic charm. There's neighborhoods like Jungle Prada and Pasadena that are definitely areas that you would want to check out if this sounds appealing to you. And I really think these areas aren't talked about enough because they have so much convenience and charm, very similar to popular areas like the historic Old Northeast and Snell Isle, but without maybe the crazy price tag. Jungle Prada in particular is an extremely historic area with some of the land there being protected, and the history of that area actually dates back to 1528, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy to think about. The city is one of the earliest known settlements in Florida, and it's home to the landing of Pánfilo de Narváez. I'm sure I'm butchering that a little bit, but he was a Spanish explorer who was on an expedition in North America and found himself here in Jungle Prada. And like I mentioned before, there are currently several protected historic sites and parks in the Jungle Prada neighborhood, which is really cool. Some of the most popular that you could check out are Abercrombie Park, Jungle Prada de Narváez, Waterfront Park, Walter Fuller Park, and these all offer game fields, tennis courts, shelters for rent, and more. And all of this, of course, is maintained by the city, which makes it just an amazing natural amenity that you have access to when you're in Jungle Prada. The median cost of a home in this area is around $900,000, but you can obviously find options above or below that price, and there's plenty of styles to choose from. You can find a smaller bungalow ranch style home all the way up to these like multi-million dollar, mansions directly on the waterfront itself. So a lot of great options if this area appeals to you. We also have Pasadena, which is just 10 minutes from our gorgeous white sand beaches, that also has bungalows, mid-century modern homes, townhomes, condos, and of course waterfront property, but without some of the tourist traffic because everything's a lot closer to you. So you really get the lifestyle without a lot of the chaos. And this area is also a little bit more affordable, with the median cost of this home being just shy of $500,000, coming in somewhere in like the 470s. And this area is also only about 7 miles from downtown St. Petersburg. So it's nice because you're kind of completely encased in nature. You're still just a short drive from downtown St. Petersburg with easy access, but not all the hubbub and all the movement if you don't want to be right in the center of that all of the time. Some of the key parks in this area that I love are Maynard Bayview Park and the Garden Club of St. Petersburg, which has these annual events that bring neighbors together for some outdoor fun. Really cool if you want to get engaged with your community. And not only are there some really underrated communities near the water, like what we talked about, but living in St. Pete, you're really never too far from the beach. So we could spend 10 minutes listing out all these different cities, but you really could throw a pin at St. Petersburg or a dart at St. Petersburg, and wherever you land, you're not going to be farther than a 20-25 minute drive from world-class beaches, gorgeous water, or really just a few minute drive from an amazing park. It's something that our city does immensely well. So reason number 2 is local neighborhoods are revitalizing and doing it very quickly. Right now, some of St. Pete's most historic and culturally rich areas like the Grand Central Arts District, the Deuces, and Bartlett Park are experiencing a powerful wave of transformation. We're seeing these multi-million-dollar investments going into infrastructure, street beautification, and public spaces. There's a lot of local entrepreneurs opening up things like boutique shops, breweries, art studios, farm-to-table cafes, and they're creating these like vibrant, walkable communities that are only getting better as time passes. And here's the kicker, these neighborhoods are still in that sweet spot where you can get in before prices get crazy and skyrocket. You'll find new condos and townhouses in the MLK Business District and the Warehouse Arts District. The Deuces is expected to get affordable townhomes, which would put you minutes to downtown at a very reasonable price point. Construction's set to begin on these next year in 2026, so we'll make sure to keep you updated on that, but it's just good to know that these areas are growing, getting invested in, and continuing to offer many housing solutions for people who want to move into the St. Pete area, be in a convenient location with access to everything cool that St. Pete has. I really think there's a lot of opportunity in these areas in particular, and it's really rare to find these areas with this much upside potential and already having a genuine local charm. If you're an investor, a first-time buyer, or just someone who wants to be part of a growing neighborhood, this could be your window of opportunity and definitely would be an area for you to consider. If you have questions about specifically what's available here, you can always reach out to our team at the information below, and we would love to help you with any questions you might have in your transition to St. Petersburg. Reason number 3 would be the arts in the indie scene is actually affordable here. So St. Pete isn't just creative, it's a creative incubator, and it really shows. St. Pete invests a lot in its creatives, and it does this through things like city grants, nonprofit funding, artist residencies. And so if you're an artist, you can actually afford to live and create here. It's something St. Pete really cares about. It's part of the blood of St. Pete, the arts. The Warehouse Arts District is a really good example of this, and it offers these studio co-ops, affordable gallery space, and a lot of really cool mentorship programs. There's also events like the Shine Mural Festival that turn entire neighborhoods into these open art galleries, which really helps to attract talent from all across the country and of course provides a fun thing to do for local residences. You can find things from local spoken word and improv at Studio 620 to late night art walks and DJ sets in hidden courtyards scattered throughout the city. This is really where passion meets accessibility. So if you particularly want to live in a city that doesn't just tolerate artists but champions them, St. Pete is definitely going to be a good fit for you. Even just walking around downtown St. Pete, you feel the love for arts and creatives. The streets are lined with these absolutely beautiful murals. You really can't go more than a couple of steps without seeing a new gorgeous mural here in St. Petersburg. And the city really curates such a great living environment that prioritizes these arts and artists. Even just walking around too, there's probably 5 world-class museums within walking distance of us here at the pier, from the Museum of Fine Art, the Salvador Dali Museum, the James Museum of Western Art. There's no stop to enjoying arts and culture here in St. Petersburg. And so if that's for you, maybe it's a good fit. Reason number 4 is going to be local food, markets, and these kind of like micro neighborhood vibes, and I'll explain what I mean. So what I think really helps make St. Pete feel more special than some of the other places that people move from is this kind of micro neighborhood culture that exists here in St. Petersburg. Each corner of the city has like a totally different flavor, literally and figuratively. So like in the Edge District, for example, it's all about like third wave coffees, open air beer gardens, and more indie boutique stores. Kenwood, by contrast, brings kind of a vintage charm. There's like these front porch concerts and a strong sense of neighborly pride. Then there's places like historic Uptown, which offers these tree-lined streets, beautiful craftsman homes, and that rare kind of like everyone knows your name energy. And when it comes to food, it's not just a scene, it's a movement in St. Pete. This has been one of the big changes over the last few years. And St. Pete dining is some of the most diverse you'll find in a small to mid-sized city. We were even just put on the Michelin Guide for the first time, and I wouldn't be surprised if a few of our restaurants start receiving stars, but even just getting on the list is a huge accomplishment, as anyone who is a foodie will know. The quality here is absolutely amazing, and there's enough options here to try something new every weekend, and you would never run out of places to eat. And there's so many great options for food in local markets in the burg, but I'll just throw out a kind of a few, maybe smaller ones that are some personal favorites for us. There's obviously Mazzaro's Italian Market, which is an absolute local institution. I mean, you can ask any St. Petersburg resident who's lived here for a while about Mazzaro's and they'll start raving about it. I will warn you, anytime you go, it's gonna be completely packed, but they deserve all the attention they get. I also really recommend Fig and the Pig, but there are so many great options. I really could spend 20 minutes talking about it. The Saturday Morning Market is another one of our largest weekly fresh markets that happen in St. Petersburg. And there's spots like the Lolita's Wine Market and Wild Child that help keep the culinary bar high. There's also Fortu, which is one of those restaurants that made it onto the Michelin list, which is amazing, a little pricey, but very, very good food if that's something that interests you. And if you love cities where local flavor beats out big chains every time, that is St. Pete. St. Pete is all about local first. So if you're someone who loves cities where the local flavor beats out the chain every time, St. Pete is definitely for you, where we focus on what makes sense with the culture and the vibe of our specific micro communities. And there'll be some restaurant or some market there for you to take full advantage of, with a ton of variants and plenty of options for you to choose from. And reason number 5 is St. Pete is built for living, not just vacationing. And I really think that that's something that a lot of people miss about the city. They hear about St. Petersburg as a tourist destination or a vacation spot or a beautiful place to visit, which of course all of which is true, but it's also a city that's been very thoughtfully designed for people who actually live here. And you can take everything from walkable neighborhoods to more and more investments in public transportation. The city really does make everyday life feel easy and enjoyable. The goal here in St. Petersburg isn't just to entertain visitors, it's to give the locals a high quality of life. This is what the visitors are coming to experience. It's just a week of what it's like to live here year round when you're a St. Pete resident. So take the Sunrunner, for example. It's our first bus rapid transportation system, and it runs from downtown to the beach with its own dedicated lanes, cutting down on commute times for people who want to make that travel and helping to make this city a little bit less car dependent than it is, even by Florida standards. I mean, I think we do much better than most of the major cities in Florida when it comes to this. Then there's things like the Pinellas Trail, which is a 50+ mile protected path for biking, walking, running, or skating. It's absolutely gorgeous. It connects neighborhoods, parks, and local hotspots, all without ever needing to get in your car. So whether you're commuting or just exploring, it's one of the best examples of how St. Pete helps promote this kind of like outdoor active lifestyle for those who enjoy that kind of thing. And then there's a ton of investment in these big development projects that happen around the city as well. One example I'll give is the Tropicana redevelopment, which is currently in flux, but the city is not standing still on any of this stuff. There's a continuous investment in bike infrastructure, green spaces, and revitalizing some of these older neighborhoods. All signs that we're seeing here in St. Petersburg are pointing to a city that's thinking long-term about livability, not just tourism. And the best part is that so many of the best experiences here, the beach days, the art walks, the live music in the park, things like community yoga or waterfront markets, these are all free or super affordable. And so it's a place where you don't have to spend big to live well. So bottom line is St. Pete isn't a place you have to escape from. It's not just a tourist destination. It's the kind of city you actually want to stay in and live in, as long as the lifestyle you're looking for is kind of the things that we've discussed in today's video. So if you're thinking about making the move to St. Petersburg, those were the insider reasons why more and more people are choosing to do exactly that and make the Sunshine City their home, and why now is the perfect time to do it. Of course, my team and I would love to be your real estate team of choice. We're one of the top producing teams here in the market, where last year we finished into the top 2%. We're always available to answer any questions you have. Make sure you reach out to us at the information below, and comment below any other video ideas you'd like us to cover in the future. Our main goal is that these videos provide value to you, and any guidance on what you'd like to hear is of course useful. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe for more local real estate insights, and reach out anytime. We've got you covered, and we'll see you in the next video.